Good morning, folks, and welcome to Saving Miller. Well, we are in the middle of summer. Usually, June is hotter than July is, but this year, June was not so bad. This past week, our highs have been right around 110, 111, something like that. But today and tomorrow, we're going to a new level. So at 110, it's hot, but it's not too bad. We can handle that. The animals are fine. It does take a little bit extra attention. We always make sure they have at least two water sources in case one runs out. But today the high is forecast to be 114, so it's already in the 90s at 7 this morning. And tomorrow the high is 116. So I'm going to be pretty busy trying to keep the animals cool enough to survive these next 2 days. So let's take a look at things before we head out there, or before the heat comes, and we'll see what the plan is, and then hopefully I can get back to you guys maybe in a couple of days, and we'll see how we survive. So the garden here has been doing quite well, and I want to show you on this side. This is the this is sort of the this is the south facing side, but this side is going to get the most sun. But as you can see, these tomato plants actually have, they're showing signs of those high temperatures. They're not blooming as much as they were. There's a cucumber in there, tomatoes in there. So there's still tomatoes popping up everywhere. This tunnel on this side became a cave. And just for perspective, I'll get in there. This thing is massive. So there's some small tomato plants that didn't grow much. There's one there and one there that basically took over everything. Plus all these cucumbers are on there. And so there are no beans on this side. But this thing is huge. I mean, we're about 7 feet high at the top from the ground, minus, a foot or so here. So they really took over this side. Now on this side, you can see the bean tunnel. So this is mostly beans, but there's a lot of cucumbers in there as well. And we've been growing some massive cucumbers. I mean, we can't, look at that. Can't even keep up with these. So today, I'm going to use some of these extra cucumbers and feed them to the chickens and ducks. They do really like them. And we're going to have them in the fridge, and then I'll take them out periodically to give them something to help them cool off inside. So with high temperatures like this, it's all about the ground temperature. And so having leafy plants like this, these large leaves, help to protect the soil from the sun heating up the ground. And so this whole bed here is fairly productive. So even in the middle of summer, we see there's a little bit of heat damage there, but the watermelon is doing great. The broccoli, well, it's growing, but it's not producing. The marigold is having a bit of trouble. The cabbages are growing slowly. But mostly, this bed has done quite well, even with these elevated temperatures. There's a couple of watermelons that are just coming up. These are going to be fairly small. You see one. There's one hiding right there. Okay, the orchard has been doing okay, so I'm pretty impressed. This clover has been holding up under these high temperatures, but I am watering it. It's been almost 2 weeks now since we've gotten water, so that's not good. It just takes a little bit of extra, and by water I meant irrigation water. So the grass in the pasture is doing okay. This Bermuda grass is really tough. It likes the summer heat, and it's taking over with the help of the chickens and cows. It's taking over this area. So this spring, this was all bare dirt with some weeds that we got out of here. So our birds have been doing okay. During the day, they stay under the coop. I make sure that these coops do not get moved during the day. So a lot of the ground underneath the coops remains shaded all day. And
we do a little bit of supplemental shade on this side here to just make the area a little bigger. Oh, Thanksgiving is... Oh, come on, do that again, buddy. Look at this. So he's definitely a tom. Oh, that's unfortunate. He was fanning his tail. He's growing. He seems to be doing okay with the heat, but it definitely affects him. The chickens, we did have a concern about one of them. She seemed really lethargic a couple days ago, so I actually took her in and kept her in the yard, and by the end of the day she seemed fine. So what I'm going to do today is come out here and change the water more frequently so that it's not hot, and I'm going to add ice to it. Man, these ducks are just loud. So I think these birds are going to be fine. They have been living outside their whole life. The meat birds have been outside their whole life too, but some of these, here, rooster, they're maturing. So there's pretty good airflow. Man, they're all just getting noisy this morning. There's pretty good airflow in this coop, and we add the umbrella in the front there so that towards the afternoon the sun isn't coming into the coop as much. And so what I do for the chickens, they're out here on grass. This grass keeps the ground pretty cool and the grass stays cool. So even on a warm day, you know, if you touch this grass, it's nice. It's a nice temperature. And the birds know this, and so they take advantage of that. So what I do is actually, I'll come out here several times today, and I will water, just put a light coating of water on the grass to help them cool down. And the chickens don't like the water to start with, but as soon as I stop spraying water, they're on that grass right away, and that helps to cool their feet down. So that's pretty much the plan here for the birds. I was thinking of trying to move them, but I've just seen that they've been doing trying to hold me hostage for some feed. I've thought of trying to move them in here for the day, for the afternoon especially, but I think the grass out here is just a big helpful factor, so I'm going to keep them outside. And then I'm going to turn on a couple of misters inside the chicken coop. We've had them set up before, we've used them a little bit. Usually it ends up resulting in a water leak somewhere, but I'm going to turn them on today, and I'll try to set up one for the meat birds as well, the red chickens. Now the cows, I'm definitely concerned about them too. They've been hanging out in the pasture. They're grazing over there right now. Sorry, that part over there, they're in the back, and there's a tree over there that provides them some shade, but I really don't want them back there. I can keep them cooler up here. So what I'm going to do is bribe them to stay inside, and I'll go and show you what I have set up for them. Now normally I don't want the cows hanging out in here during the day a whole lot, but they are producing a really nice manure here, and so eventually we will clean this up and we'll use it for compost. But what I've got set up here is a water tank there, so the water stays on there all the time. And then I have the blue tub out in the pasture as well, so they have 2 water sources as well. I'm going to come out here and take some water out of this black tub later today so that it's cooler water, because it does warm up and I want them to be able to have a pretty cool water. And I've got a stash of ice. I may actually use some ice as well. So I'm going to keep them in here, and I'll show you why. See that pipe up there? Okay. I set this up a couple weeks ago. Well, about a month ago, I guess. So if I turn this valve on, we've got a misting system set up here over the cows. I've got 2 lines. I've got one over there, and I've got one here. This system works quite well. It cools this area down almost 15 degrees on most days. I've got a thermometer here. Let's see what it says right now. Okay, so we're reading just about 95, something like that. And so that thermometer is probably going to peg out this afternoon when the sun hits it. But I would expect our temperatures at 4 o'clock to be about 115. So we'll check on that later today. However, because I want the cows to stay cool, this dirt will heat up. It doesn't get a lot of sun, but it will heat up. And so I've got these misters on already this morning to try to get ahead of it and keep this ground as cool as I can so that they're going to be able to regulate their body temperature. You know, these guys are black, so I have not seen any signs of distress. Like even yesterday when it was a high of 111, they were out in the middle of the afternoon eating grass. And so today and tomorrow I'm going to give them a bit of hay in here. I still have a little bit left over from winter. I've just kind of been feeding it intermittently, and I'm going to feed it to them this afternoon to keep them in here so that they stay out of the heat, direct sun and heat. So I hope we can make it. It would be a real shame if we lost a cow or the chickens or ducks or anything. So I'm gonna do my best here over the next 2 days, and I'll check back in with you this afternoon to see how we're doing. So here's the new guy. He's gonna be a good steer. He has a really nice attitude. He's pretty friendly now, but not too friendly, so it's just right. Okay, folks, so we have hit that afternoon peak where it's really hot. The sun is in the western sky, and to the best of my information, it's 115 degrees right now. It's actually, we have a couple of positives today. The humidity is actually up to 11%. Sometimes on these really hot days it'll be down to like 3 or 4%. So the humidity level helps just a little bit, but it's still dry enough that the water is evaporating quickly. So for plants, you know, they're giving off a lot of water, but we can use that to our advantage. We can put water in the air and it evaporates quickly and provides localized cooling. So I have done my best. I've been out about every hour to check on the animals. I've given the chickens and ducks ice. I've given them frozen cucumbers and things. So the ducks actually seem to be doing quite well. Now as for myself, I do turn the misters on most afternoons. You can't actually see them, but they keep the temperature pretty decent on the patio there. Just that little mist coming down makes a big difference. And as soon as I get this video done, I'm getting in the pool. I don't know if I've shown you guys this, but we did a little bit of work on the pool and cleaned it up. We put those caps on the walls where it was cracking, and we painted the rock. So it's quite a bit nicer now than it was last year. So let's head out here and see how the animals are doing. So basically I used a lot of water. You can see the chickens here, they're acting normal, hanging out. Here comes Thanksgiving, looking for a handout like usual. And the ducks are happy. They're pretty content. I kind of used a lot of water, but this was pretty necessary. I decided I'd rather pay for water than lose an animal. So this ground here is pretty cool where all the water is. You can see the ducks have been busy. Man, they're loud. Maybe they'll quiet down. So this works really well for both the chickens and the turkey and the ducks. They can really cool themselves off quite a bit by walking in this water. The water's not cold, but it's cooler. And so I've got a couple of hose leaks. Over there's a hose leak and it's spraying over here. And then I've got some misters You can't actually see them really well, but there's some misters in there that are providing some fogging. Now, I was most concerned about the meat birds, just because they're a lot fatter and all of that. But with the breeze, I stuck this hose nozzle down here, and it has a mist setting, and it actually works really well. So it's been providing a mist that blows inside, and from what I can see, everybody in there is perky, alert. Okay, so the cows come from the desert in Gila Bend, so they might think this is just great. They don't seem to be too bothered by the heat, and it's pretty surprising to me. But here they are, they're out here grazing, you know, getting a little bit of shade, and I'm hoping that by me coming out here, they'll follow me back in, and then I'll try to keep them in the stall to get them cooled down as soon as we can. So now I got to put the meat birds to bed. They seem to do okay. I was most worried about them, and I was worried about Thanksgiving because he has a lot of feathers, but he seemed to do fine. And the ducks seemed to be the happiest. They were out and active all day like nothing was going on. They were happy with all the extra water. So I think my cooling plan worked, and I will make a note in the blog tomorrow if anything happened. But I think today was a success. Tomorrow is supposed to be 118, so hopefully we can survive that as well. So till next time, Saving Miller out.